Hey, welcome to Motherhood Equipped, where faith, wellness, ambition, and birth all come together to equip moms to lead with courage and unshakable purpose. I'm Brigitte. I am so grateful you're here, and I'm committed to learning out loud and living my motherhood journey on purpose right alongside you. So let's link arms and step into all the potential that you already have.
Hello, Sam. Thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. I'm super excited to chat with you today.
Hi, yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, totally. Okay. This one's been like a long time coming too. We've had like multiple schedule conflicts, just mom life, right? A little bit of an intro, you guys. So today I'm chatting with Sam. She is a mom of two precious little girls. They're adorable. And she is a women's health and mineral expert who teaches women how to prepare their bodies for pregnancy, support a healthy pregnancy, recover energy postpartum, which is how she and I really connected all through, I would say, like really simple science-backed nutrition, HTMA testing. She's obviously gonna share more, but I can vouch for her, having personally worked with Sam, I can vouch for her really individualized approach, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear from her. Sam, I'm so excited to ask you all these questions.
Yeah.
My first thing is can you kind of tell us a little bit about the story behind getting your program up and running and the heart that you have behind it? Because I know that your heart behind it is huge. So I would love for us to start there.
Yeah, I'd love to. And I'll try to take like the long story short version. But essentially, I graduated with my master's in clinical nutrition over a decade ago, and straight out of school, really got into right into like pure functional medicine. I started working for a clinic that specialized in mold toxicity, Lyme disease, chronic conditions, GI conditions, hormones, autoimmune, all of that stuff. And I just developed
Wow.
such a passion for it, like right off the rip, right out of school, right? And I worked for that clinic for a while, and then I was recruited by, then I started working at another clinic called Parsley Health. And worked there for about 6 years, and continued to kind of bring that love for that specialty of chronic disease and chronic conditions, but also just get a really broad spectrum knowledge in all areas, right? Hormones, women's health, everything. And halfway through my career there, I got pregnant with my first daughter, Natalia. And I went through, I guess, to start it out, when I got pregnant and got my first pregnancy test and was sitting in the bathroom literally wanting to cry because I didn't know what to do next, I realized that I had this background in nutrition, but I knew nothing about pregnancy. So I felt alone. I felt isolated. I felt like I wanted to tell people, but I wasn't allowed to. And that really just inspired me to get into the research myself. And I started researching and just really going through the motions. And you know this from going through it with your kids, right? Like there's so many gaps in maternal health. So I became really passionate about it. And then going through postpartum was the same thing. And then when I went through it again with my second daughter, really just developed even a larger passion for it, and just knew that like this was my calling. This is what I needed to do. Supporting women from preconception through pregnancy, through postpartum. Like there's so many gaps that exist in maternal health, which I'm sure we'll go through today. That really just developed that passion for me to move in this direction. And what's so interesting, I'll just add, is that a lot of the things that I've worked on for my whole career are coming back up in this season for mothers. Like women are most prone to developing chronic conditions, autoimmune diseases, thyroid issues, all of these things that come up. So it's just so interesting because my background, like I'm still kind of doing a lot of the similar things, but just realizing more and more, the more that I do this, that, mothers are the ones that are most prone to developing these chronic conditions.
Yeah, no, totally.
Mhm.
I'm glad you shared that because you really have like a very broad perspective that you bring to the table. And it shows because you're
Yeah.
really good at what you do. um, that
Yeah.
is awesome. Okay, so I have, you know what, let's go in like chronological order with
Mhm.
like the stages that a woman would go through. Let's start with like preconception, hormone health. If you were talking to a mom who's like, where do I start? She wants to prepare her body for pregnancy. What are some of the things that you would advise her on for where to realistically start
It's a
prepping?
great question. So I would say build your foundation. And essentially what I mean by that, let me give you a little bit of analogy. So we're not construction workers, obviously, but think of yourself as a construction worker. You are not going to decorate a house until the house is built. The house needs to be built. It needs to be standing strong before you bring any decoratory things into that house. So I think a lot of the times with preconception, especially with like all the noise on social media and all the things that we can read, there's always like, oh, take this supplement to optimize your fertility or follow this specific thing or, whatnot. But at the end of the day, the foundations are so often overlooked. Um, and those are nutrition, sleep, stress management, movement, and hydration. So if somebody was starting out, I would make sure that those foundations are really strong and you can always build on and decorate further, right? You can always add things on, but
Hmm.
make sure you're getting in enough protein. Make sure you're getting your macronutrients that you need in regards to nutrition. Eat a colorful diet, like the foundational principles of nutrition,
Hmm.
right? With sleep, try to get 7 to 8 hours of good quality sleep, not just the quantity, but don't be scrolling on your phone at night and then go right to sleep. Like have a little bit of a wind down routine, really support and create that balance. With hydration, it's not just fluid. Make sure you're getting enough minerals. A lot of the times when we're drinking a lot of water, we're actually flushing out our minerals. So creating a balance with like the amount of water and also minerals. With movement, doesn't have to be a hardcore exercise program. Just try not to be sedentary. Create a strong
Hmm.
foundation there. And then with stress, stress, let's talk about that, right? I wish we could just magic erase or stress be gone for everyone,
Oh my
but
gosh,
learn how to
yes.
manage and balance the stress. Bring in things that you love, bring in things that help you feel creative and, just support your nervous system. So creating a strong foundation in those areas before getting sidetracked off of a specific supplement or a detox or some of these things that we see often online would be my best advice for somebody starting out and really just wanting to plan and support their journey towards conception.
Yeah. And you know what's so good is those things are all like, I mean, they sound simple enough that I feel like it's easy to be like, oh, like I'm good, Oh, I eat plenty of colors. I eat plenty of protein. But when we actually sit and we stop, I think most of us in that situation, we'd be like, actually, we are kind of coming up short because we live in such a stress-filled, fast-paced, packaged, information overload
Mhm.
with like the social media of like, oh, follow these bajillions of people. Like there are so many different perspectives coming at us. When you cut down like to it, it really is simple. But I do feel like that takes a little bit of intentionality. So I'm glad you said that.
And with
Um,
that analogy too, like the thought of like building a strong foundation, like you also want it to be even. You don't want to work so hard on your
mm,
nutrition that you're staying up all night meal prepping that you're not going to sleep at a good time.
yep.
Or you
Yep.
don't want to, wake up really early to exercise that now you're not getting that extended quality of sleep. So it's all
Yep.
about working on those foundations, but also creating a balance between them where you're not pulling from one side to work on another, if that makes sense too.
So good. So good. I mean, I don't know if you see any like common trends, but what are some of the biggest just like mineral and nutrient gaps you most commonly see women have before pregnancy that could be impacting their fertility?
That's a great question. We could be here all day
Oh
talking
no.
about this. We could. Yes, we could.
Well, I mean, it's a huge issue.
Yeah, especially so obviously, let's talk about our soil a little bit. Our soils are obviously depleted. Our soils are depleted, you're not getting the minerals that, we may have in the past. So there's that. There's also like the introduction of a lot of processed foods and things like that. And even the healthier processed foods, right? That we're getting away from getting more creative with like, okay, I'm going to have spaghetti squash for dinner and instead doing like a chickpea pasta or something, which there's nothing wrong
Hmm.
with that. But again, like we don't realize that we're actually decreasing our minerals by gearing off of like the whole foods. And then
Right.
there's also the level of how minerals interact with each other in the body. So it's not just about one or two being high or low, but how are they interacting? Minerals compete for each other. So a lot of the times, if you are supplementing, let's say, zinc because you're sick and you hear that supplementing zinc is a good thing, what you actually could be doing is imbalancing and regulating other minerals that are important for fertility and things like that. So there's a lot of imbalances that I see. One of the most common ones that I actually see, and I think it kind of just goes back to how many women have been told to start birth control, and we're just on it for so many years, is
Yep.
copper imbalances. So if you were on birth control in the past, there is a very high likelihood that your body is holding on to excess copper. And isn't actually able to excrete it and regulate it in the body. If you have a magnesium deficiency, which many people do, again, back to like the soils and things like that, that issue is likely escalated because you need good levels of magnesium to help your body regulate and eliminate excess copper. Okay. But copper retention is going to cause issues with estrogen. And it's going to cause issues with lower progesterone levels, which we know are so important for fertility. So that's one that I often see. is copper retention, and very common in women who have taken birth control. Even if it was years before,
Mm,
like even if you've been off of it for 4 to 5 years, you could still be retaining copper from utilizing birth control.
so wild.
So that's one. I'll give another example because again, there's many, but another really common one that I see is potassium loss from the cells. So even for people that are eating the RDA of like the recommended amount of potassium, a lot of people are actually still depleted in it because of, again, how minerals interact in the body. So what I'm commonly seeing a lot in the testing that I'm doing is potassium loss from the cell, which could be impacting things like the thyroid. It could be impacting things like your ability to absorb protein. Like there's a lot of potential feedback loops associated with it. So those are just two examples, I guess, of the
That's
many
good.
that there are. Yeah.
I think the potassium, I think that was one of the things that you helped me kind of uncover when I did the HTMA test with you, if I'm remembering right. But
Hmm.
I have to take a time out. Literally, when you're explaining all of this, okay, we should not be using things like ChatGPT to look stuff like this up because I really believe and that's like becoming this trend like, oh, like I'm going to fix my hormone health because I'm just asking ChatGPT about it. Like that is still a one-sided, like you guys listen to how multifaceted this is. Our bodies are beautiful, but they are so complex. And I really think, I mean, like Sam, you've done a number of just like really kind of like you've put some content on Instagram in the past that's like, hey, you guys, like just remember, if you are preparing to have a baby, it's okay to maybe instead of saving up for like the next big baby item, you put
Hmm.
aside a little bit of savings to work with somebody who can help you through these things. And like, I wish that we had this perfect little world where we had all of our, this village that comes around the mom and really helps step by step so that we can get a little bit of extra sleep. But we just don't have that. Like right now, we are in just like a very individualized, very fast paced society. And I really do just have to like take a little time out to be like, it can be some of the best investment that you ever make, I really feel like, to work with somebody who can partner with you to look at all these different things, because otherwise it's just going to be too overwhelming and you're going to quit. Except on the flip side of that is it's surprisingly simple. I just believe that you really need that hand-holding partnership, like with somebody like you, Sam. I mean, like, is that not so important? Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. But I just had to, like, take that pause because that is becoming a trend that's driving me nuts of, like, people just like, "Oh, I looked it up, and, like, now ChatGPT is my doctor." And I'm
Yeah,
like,
and I
"Wait a
honestly
second."
think that people are so hesitant to invest in themselves.
Mm,
I mean, I've been in that situation before where I've been in a position where I'm like, you do get hesitant to invest in yourself, but then like it's very easy to invest in something like a wedding, because society normalizes it. It's very easy to invest in something like a vacation because that's just like a normal thing. We splurge on vacations, but we're not normalizing in society to splurge on ourselves. And I'm not saying we shouldn't splurge on our weddings. Like those are special moments, like weddings, vacations, trips, all of these things, baby showers, like all of the things that come up. But it's also just it really is important to invest in yourself because
yeah.
you're just going to feel a better quality of life. You're going to have a better quality pregnancy. Like a lot of the symptoms, and I know we're probably going to get into this, but a lot of the symptoms that they say are normal in pregnancy, they're not normal. They're common because we are not giving women the support that they truly need. So when you do take a
Yes.
step back and work on your fertility and your preconception, not only for the woman but for the man too. They're not caught out of this. Their part is very important as well. It does really like shift the entire way that you feel throughout your pregnancy and thereon. And,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
100%.
So thank you for saying
100%.
that. Cause I do also see that a lot. And I just feel like it's hard. It's hard for us to invest in ourselves. Like
It definitely
it's a
is.
difficult thing. Yeah.
It's like it's like a conversation of short-term versus long-term gratification. But I truly feel like investing in yourself in this way, it's like, gosh, and yes, I agree with you. It is two-sided, mom and dad, but at the same time,
Hmm.
so much like rides or dies on the mom. And I mean, I know that if I am high energy, the whole house is popping. Like the kids are high energy, but if I'm not, like everybody kind of, I don't know what that is. Like, do you feel that way, Sam? Like
That way.
whenever the mom is firing on all cylinders because her cup is being poured into, everybody else is great.
Hmm.
Like that's just what I've seen.
Yeah. I can
Um,
relate to that.
so, but you brought up a good point. So, moving into what are some of those like pregnancy symptoms that are normalized but not normal, and why?
So, I mean, so in the first trimester, you have the rising hormones and all those things. You're going to feel symptomatic. I'm not going to sit this on the side of the screen and say that you shouldn't feel symptomatic at all, but I am going to say that you can feel good pregnant and you don't have to suffer from a lot of the common symptoms that are out there. So nausea, I mean, a little bit is going to be normal to an extent, but feeling nauseous every single day, all throughout the day, like that's common because we're not giving women the support that they need. We're not telling them to eat protein first thing in the morning. We're not telling them to hydrate with electrolytes. We're not telling them to move their body, to like not be sedentary. Like all these little, again, foundational things can play a huge role. So there's that. There's also really common in the first trimester is the constipation or just like discomfort with reflux and indigestion, some of these gut symptoms that we can get. There's joint pain. A lot of these things can come up in the first trimester, specifically the fatigue. I mean, yeah, you're making a human. You're going to be tired, but you should not feel exhausted even after rest, even after a good nap. You should not feel that level of exhaustion. That is
Mm,
your body communicating with you. Symptoms are your body communicating with you. They are signals. We have symptoms because it's our body's way of telling us that something is off. Another one, cravings. Cravings. What is your body trying to tell you? Are you craving salty french fries because you need potassium and salt? Are you craving magnesium craving chocolate because you need magnesium? Like, again, these are very common parts of pregnancy because our bodies are communicating with us and we need to stop normalizing them to the ability that we do. I feel like a lot on social media. There's a lot of like
right.
comedy things that I see when I feel like I scroll through. I get a lot of pregnancy content and there's a lot of like comedy things like, oh, I'm, tired with or pregnant with a, what is the thing that they say? I am tired with a toddler pregnancy, I think is the common one. Have you seen that one before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Yep.
pregnancy with a toddler tired or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, toddlers are exhausting and I have one and I was pregnant with a toddler and I know, but I think a lot of these things distract us from the larger point that like if you are feeling exhausted, your body is telling
Hmm.
you something. It's communicating
Yes.
with you, you know?
Oh, 100%.
So,
100%. And I mean, gosh, the other one I've seen online is like, uh, the mom is reaching for like a donut or something, and it's like, oh, I'm just giving the baby what the baby wants. And I'm like, wait a second. No, no, no. We should be giving you what your body needs.
yeah. But
Um,
what does the baby want? Why are you craving that donut? Are you craving
yeah.
sweets because you're dehydrated and your body actually doesn't know the difference between the two? Sometimes when we're dehydrated, we will crave sweets because our body is actually trying to tell us to eat fruit. To eat
Wow.
electrolytes, right? So we think that sweet craving, like we can conceive that sometimes for actually like wanting more carbohydrates. Do you need more carbohydrates? Are you craving the
Hmm.
donut because you need more carbs because maybe you only had eggs and greens for breakfast, but you needed to have potatoes too? Like the donut craving is not always for the donut. It's not always the willpower. I mean, yes, enjoy yourself. Like you shouldn't restrict yourself during pregnancy. You should enjoy just as much as you should any day. But
Hmm.
I think what I'm trying to say is like it's important to listen to your cravings because that is how your body communicates. A craving is a symptom, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's always just so interesting to me.
No, that's so good. So what are some of your like just top nutrition mineral tips for let's just start with energy. Okay. So what are your top tips for maintaining stable energy throughout pregnancy?
Yeah. So the first thing is, I mean, if I were to tell you one thing to do, it's to eat protein in the morning. Like to get breakfast in the morning, do not skip breakfast. That's going to set the foundation of your day with blood sugar regulation, all of the above. Prioritizing nutrient dense foods, but really trying to prioritize protein first thing in the morning is going to be really helpful for, energy throughout the day through pregnancy. Also, hydration needs are going to go up. So make sure that you are hydrating. And like I said before, not just with water, add electrolytes to your water. You don't have to spend crazy amounts of money on electrolyte powders. There's so many good ones out there. But at the end of the day, add some fruit to your water. Like make fruit ice cubes, add them to your water. Add a pinch of
That's a
Celtic
fun
sea
idea.
salt with a little bit of lemon. Add that to your water, right? And actually hydrate at that level and not just like drinking actually like water. Because again, when you drink a lot of water and you're not getting electrolytes, you can actually flush out some of those electrolytes. And that's when you're going to crave salt. That's when you're going to crave some of those salty foods, pretzels, chips, etc. So that's a big one. Um, Also making sure that you are taking your prenatal. Your prenatal is not going to address every single nutrition need that you have. I think that's a common misconception that it's like, oh, just take your prenatal. You do still need to be
Hmm.
eating a good wide range nutrient dense diet when you are pregnant. But making sure that you are taking your prenatal because your body is going to have like additional demands and things like that. And then the other one honestly would be to rest. to listen to your body and to rest,
Mm,
but also make sure you're not sedentary. Because
yeah.
I mean, okay, if you are pregnant right now and you're feeling tired, go outside, get in the sun, and take a walk. I promise you that that walk's not going to make you more tired. It is going to energize you in a way that you're not even going to realize it's going to energize you. So, those again are going back to the foundations. It's going back to building that strong foundation in preconception, but also in pregnancy. That's what's going to help you with energy, not that one supplement that is marketed for pregnancy safe that is going to increase your energy. Your foundations are going to.
That's good.
Mhm.
Okay, you might have actually just answered it, but just in case you have a different answer, that
Mhm.
reminds me of something I did want to ask you is
Yeah.
like, are there any common pregnancy supplements that you just don't think are serving moms at all?
Hmm.
I mean, because you just
Well,
mentioned yes for a good prenatal, but no for like, I don't really know what's on there on the market for this, but like something marketed
yeah,
to
I mean,
increase pregnancy energy?
what I would say with, like, so for prenatals, you wanna make sure that you're getting a good methylated form. Like, you wanna get one with folate, not folic acid. So it's really just making sure that you're getting a high quality, prenatal, and there's plenty good ones on the market, but making sure that you're not getting folic acid. The reason why is because a lot of people, have an issue with converting folic acid to folate, and that can cause a lot of symptoms. There was one woman that I am working with, but I started working with her early pregnancy, and she was getting headaches like crazy, and her doctor recommended that she take a prenatal with folic acid. So we literally just switched that, and she felt like a new person. Like, she was like, "My entire quality of life just shifted." So that's the first thing that I would say
Wow.
is, like, make sure that you're actually getting a high quality methylated form of a prenatal and trying to stay away from those unmethylated forms. Very important. The other thing I'll say is that magnesium is not as universal as you'd think. A lot of the times it's said to, like, oh, just supplement magnesium if you have this symptom. Like, magnesium cures everything. And yes, magnesium can help a lot of things. And for the majority of people, magnesium can be really good. But this goes back to mineral balancing. If you have really high levels of calcium, magnesium might not be the best idea right now, right? Like, so there's situations where, like, magnesium might not be the best. So that's one that I would just say is not universal. Another one is iron. I can't tell you how many times, even if women are not showing signs of anemia, that they're recommended by their providers to take iron during their pregnancy as a preventative. Minerals do not work in isolation. So if you are supplementing iron, you could be depleting your calcium, you could be depleting your copper, you could be throwing off other things. And if
Oh,
you
wow.
are anemic and told to take iron, iron can be life-saving in situations, very much need it. However, 90% of the time I have found that iron is not an iron issue. It is a copper issue. It is a calcium issue. It is not an iron issue. I can't tell you how many
Wow.
times I have ran HTMAs and seen that somebody has low iron, but the reason why is because they have calcium interfering with their iron absorption, or they have copper interfering with their iron absorption, or they have mercury interfering with their iron absorption. So
Oh,
there's a
that's
lot of
wild.
this kind of just goes back to it's not a one size fits all and why it's so important to really kind of get your own personalized blueprint. And a lot of those
Yeah.
supplements that are marketed for pregnancy are not necessarily the best maybe for you.
Oh, that is
So
so
those are three
crazy.
examples of, I guess, the many that I could list.
No, that's super good. What about, like, for pregnancy nausea? Is there, because I know you talked about that as one of the things that is
Mhm,
normalized, but not normal in to the extent that we're seeing it, like,
mhm.
all day, every day, your whole pregnancy. What do you think is going on if we were to listen to our bodies from that nausea? What do you think is actually, like, going on that we can focus on to sort of bring the nausea levels down a little bit?
Yeah, so I think this goes back to those foundations. So if you're feeling nauseous, before you just grab that ginger supplement, which, yeah, can absolutely help, right? I'm not going to say it's not going to help, but before you grab that ginger supplement or before you add in additional vitamin B6, that's another common one that is recommended a lot for pregnancy nausea. Those things can absolutely help. Um, really think back to, like, am I eating first thing in the morning, or am I taking longer to actually get some food in? Could that be causing the nausea? Am I taking my prenatal on an empty stomach? Am I sedentary? Am I not moving my body? Do I need some more blood sugar support? There's so many things that we can kind of dive deeper into those foundations first to see. Also, believe it or not, stress and anxiety are a big one for causing nausea. When we feel stress, when our
No
nervous
way.
system is stressed, or when we are anxious, and think about this, women who get their positive pregnancy tests that start feeling symptomatic, they do feel isolated. They do feel like they
Mhm.
can't reach out to somebody to ask them questions about, is this symptom normal? Is this common? Should I feel this way? Am I able to exercise? How do I exercise? Can I eat this food? Should I not eat this food? Like, there's so much running through your head, and I know this because I felt it when I was crying on my bathroom floor when I was like, wait, I'm a nutritionist and I
Yeah.
have no idea what to do right now because I'm not an expert
Yeah.
in this field, right?
Yeah.
So I think that that is really important to kind of talk about as well.
Yeah, I know the stress piece is huge. I mean, especially because, I mean, correct me if you feel differently, but I feel like in those early stages when it's like, oh, like I don't want to tell anybody,
Mhm.
there's also the fear of like, oh my gosh, well, what is my employer gonna think? Like, or, there's, uh, I remember being extremely anxious my first pregnancy because all social media showed me
Mhm.
was the negative.
Mhm.
It showed me the negative of having a baby or like, oh, you're gonna be up all night, oh, you're gonna this or, God forbid the really, really bad things that happen, loss and things like that. And that was all I was seeing when I opened my phone. So I was so anxious at first just because of what the screen
Mhm.
was showing me, as opposed to real mom conversations, a real mom side by side saying, hey, let's talk about what you can actually expect. Let's talk about what you can actually do to support yourself. Like
Mhm.
that one to one, like real human interaction is just like
Yeah.
so needed for
Yeah.
that new little bubble phase to get over that anxiety hump. And I wish there was like a way to, I don't know, like send somebody to that bathroom with you so that you can like have somebody hugging you saying like, okay, like let's do this together, you know?
And that's why in my one-on-one, like when I work one-on-one with clients, I mean, I won't, a lot of it's okay. When you get your test, you call your midwife or your doctor, and what are they going to tell you? See you in 6 weeks. Literally, that's it.
Yes.
See you in 6 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
there is no recommendations for anything like see you in 6 weeks.
Right.
So for those 6 weeks, yes, that stress and anxiety is going to be heightened. So what I do is if somebody works with me one on one, when they get that positive pregnancy test, I'm not waiting until somebody is, see me in 6 weeks. Like, no, we're
Right.
starting now, we're starting today.
Right.
I literally give them my phone number and I tell them to reach out to me like you are reaching out to a best friend, like you were reaching out to a family member. Like that is so important. I don't care how many times that you reach out to me. You could be thinking of something 3 o'clock in the morning. I might not answer you right away. I might be sleeping, but I will get back to you in the morning. Like if you
I
have a
love that.
question, please reach out. And I don't want it to feel like it's like practitioner client. I want it to feel like it's actually reaching out to a friend because there is this rule out there that we shouldn't be telling anybody that we're pregnant until the second trimester. And like that's absolutely okay for people that want that privacy and want to wait, but there is no rule. You can do what you want, but I think with that a lot of women do feel isolated in that moment
Mhm.
because they're like I do want to tell my friends because I do want that support, but I feel like I shouldn't. So like
Yeah.
I'm there to support you with like an as, in that nutritional role,
Yeah.
in the coach role, but I also want my clients to feel like it's literally like you're reaching out to a friend because these early moments are very stressful. And that's when, like I said, a lot of these symptoms can be elevated because of that stress, because your sympathetic nervous system is literally on and you're
Yeah.
currently running from a lion and you're going to
Yeah.
feel more symptomatic like that.
That is so good, Sam. I just think that's so beautiful. Just the approach you bring, because I mean, you're kind of jogging my memory now. I do remember being very stressed in that first bubble with my first, not with my
Mhm.
second, but with my first, because I mean, yeah, you have so many questions, right? You're like, what do I do? What do I, and this, and I had all honestly gone into this feeling as prepared as I could. I had read the books, I had done this or
Mhm.
whatever, but I'm still like, wow, like there's a little baby. Okay, like, do I eat eggs or do I eat this? And it's just like
Mhm. Can
having
I have the
somebody to
runny yolks?
talk
Because that's
to.
another one too. Like although
Oh,
the
yeah, right, right,
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah, and all it does is create anxiety, which then exacerbates all those things. Okay, I love that. Um, a little bit into okay, so now we're postpartum,
Mhm.
which is how you and I connected.
Mhm.
Um, Like, what do you say to the mom who already has little ones? She already feels like her body is depleted because at that point, I feel like it's really easy to believe the lie that you're too far gone.
Mhm.
I mean, you can barely have time to like text your friends back during the day. And so it's just like, okay, I'm too far gone, whatever. This is kids. This is
Mhm.
normal. How do you know if your minerals are off as opposed to something that's just like normal motherhood? And what are just some baby steps to rebuild? That's a ginormous question. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. So here's the biggest problem with postpartum, in my opinion, is that we go from weekly visits in our third trimester to nothing but a single visit for 6 weeks later. And it is nobody's fault because the system is not set up to actually truly educate you and support you on postpartum. No offense, but many OBs out there are not actually trained in postpartum.
Yeah.
Um, they're trained in life-saving practices and things like that, but they're not actually trained in postpartum itself.
Yeah.
So you have that 6-week check-in, and it's like, okay, you're cleared to exercise. You are, do you want birth control? Do you have any questions? And then like that's essentially the visit, right? Or you're also cleared to have intercourse, right? Um, and then it almost feels like you're like graduating from postpartum. Like, did you feel like that? I felt like, especially with my first, that it was like a graduation. Like I was walking out of the doctor's office and I was like, okay, I'm no longer postpartum. Like that's
Right.
kind of like what it felt like. I knew I was still postpartum, but
Right.
like that's what it actually felt like. I felt like, okay, I
Right.
was clear to exercise. I was good to go. Like all the things. Um, so I'm mentioning this because I think that like there is no education on like what actually can come up for you in the postpartum time. Postpartum depletion is more common than you think. Many women are depleted from just one pregnancy for up to 7 to 10 years after one baby. And I'd
Oh my
say
gosh.
what symptoms are normal. So to kind of go back to your question, like, I mean, yeah, it's normal to be tired, obviously. If you're exhausted, that's not. But like tired, yes, there is a level of fatigue there. But any symptom, regardless of the level of it, even if it is a little bit of fatigue, that might be normal part of being a new mom, your body's talking to you. A symptom is a signal. It is a form of communication. So regardless what the symptom is, as little as it may be, your body's still communicating with you. And majority of women, because of how nutritionally demanding pregnancy is, because of how nutritionally demanding labor is, and breastfeeding, if you breastfeed, majority of women are nutritionally depleted. They are.
Hmm.
It's very uncommon that I will actually see in my practice that somebody is not like depleted in one area.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know if that answers your question, but I'll also say I don't think that I think that there's maybe a level of normal with like fatigue that comes up, but everything else is just your body communicating with you that there is some work that you can do with rebuilding and to tell you to
Yeah.
slow down, to rest, to nourish, like so yeah, it's
No, I
okay.
love that. Okay, so will you use HTMA testing for a lot of
Mhm.
like getting to the root causes of these, or at least giving a good starting place. What are some of the, well, actually, what is an HTMA test for
Great
those who
question.
don't know? And then what are some patterns that you most often see in these postpartum moms and their results?
So, HTMA stands for hair tissue mineral analysis. And it is a non invasive hair sample that you take from the back of your head. You take the first inch you actually take it from your scalp. You cut at your scalp, but you only save the first inch to inch and a half of hair. You discard the rest. What happens is they use sophisticated spectroscopy to essentially measure the mineral patterns in your hair. So a lot of the times when people hear that they're getting their like doing a hair sample or like testing their minerals, they think they're just testing their mineral levels, but it's actually so much more. You're testing your mineral levels, but those are also not black and white. To understand what your minerals are doing, you have to actually understand what's going on with heavy metals in the body. What is your metabolic type? And that's something HTMA will show. What are the mineral ratios? The significant ratios are actually a lot more important. I'll give you an example. Calcium to potassium is your thyroid ratio. So we don't want to just look at calcium and potassium individually. We want to actually look at how calcium and potassium are interacting together, which ultimately tells us a lot about thyroid function, but a lot about other things as well. So HTMA is a hair tissue mineral analysis, and it's looking at mineral patterns, stress patterns, and things like that. Um, I always kind of give this example because I feel like it's helpful to kind of differentiate the two. Blood work is something that we really commonly do just in our world, right? Blood work is just like a standard diagnostic test that is done.
Right?
And what people don't realize about blood work is that if you take your phone and you literally take a single picture, I want you to think of that as blood work. It is a snapshot in time of the moment, of the now, right? What is happening now? When we draw
Okay.
blood, we see what is happening now. When you do something like an HTMA, take that phone again, but instead of taking a single picture, open up your photo album and look at an album from September to December. Like you're looking at patterns over time. And that's what you're
Cool.
actually seeing in HTMA. You're seeing patterns. You're not just seeing a single snapshot in the now. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because a lot of the times, especially women who have symptoms, they go in, they get blood work done, everything looks normal. You could have caught it at that bad in the moment snapshot in time. Things might actually be irregular. Also, blood is always trying to find homeostasis. So it's always going to pull from the cells to make the blood look normal, leaving the cells depleted.
No
So,
way.
yes. So, and also, I mean, if we really want to get technical here, only about 1 to 3% of minerals are actually found in the blood. So why are we looking at blood work to actually assess minerals when
Oh,
the
that's
rest are
mind
found
blowing.
in the organs, the tissues, and the hair? So that
Wow.
is why hair tissue mineral analysis is also so beneficial, is that you actually see not only patterns, not only a long duration of time of what is going on, but you actually get better context because there's more minerals that are actually stored in the hair than are actually even
Cool.
found in the blood.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you hear that all the time. It's like, oh, I went to my doctor. I'm not really feeling well, but my blood work says I'm normal.
Mm-hmm.
What
Yep.
do I do?
So to
Cool.
give you another
Okay.
example of that, thyroid, right? I can't tell you how many women come to me and they're like, I'm constipated, I have cold hands and feet, I can't lose weight, I'm feeling blah, or like not depressed, but like just like blah and just not myself and all the above, right? And then they're like, my labs are normal. I really think that there's something going on with my thyroid. Like I feel it in my gut. I just know something's off, but it always comes back normal. Well, blood work's going to tell you how much TSH is actually circulating in the blood. It's not going to tell you what's getting to the cells. But if you do something like HTMA and you look at that ratio I talked about, the calcium to potassium ratio, you're actually going to see how much thyroid hormone is actually getting to the cells where it's able to be utilized. So your blood work can
Mm,
be normal, but you can still be symptomatic. And if that is the case, you likely do have that imbalance with calcium and potassium. And all that
well,
really means is that you're experiencing a lot of potassium loss from the cell. Even if you're eating adequate levels of potassium, you're experiencing loss from the cell. And that just goes back to what your body is doing with minerals. I can't tell you exactly why that would happen because it's different for everybody. But that's just another example kind of differentiating the two. So I feel like it's helpful to understand HTMA. I feel like it's helpful to kind of look at it with blood work. I love blood work. I still prescribe it. I think that it's really helpful. However, I just see HTMA to be such a valuable test, especially looking at minerals and especially looking at things like the thyroid.
that's awesome. That is
Mhm.
awesome. I think just like, do you have any top energizing habits that we can implement as busy moms?
Energizing habits as busy moms?
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm going to go back to the foundations. Sleeping as best as you possibly can. I mean, I know sleep is a subject for new moms, no matter how old your kids are. My 4-year-old just decided she wanted to wake up and read books at 1 o'clock in the morning the last week. So and I go in and I turn the light off and then she goes back to sleep and she's fine. But like, again, I know sleep is a rough subject, but when I say go back to the foundations, do your best to have good quality of sleep, regardless of what the hours look like and the choppiness. If your kids are waking up running in your bed, things like that, practice good sleep hygiene. That is going to energize you in so many ways. Get outside, even if it's cold out, get outside, get in the sun. Like you would be surprised how much a walk and sunlight can energize you, and it's free. It's free. You're not going to spend endless amounts of money on supplements that are told they're going to give you energy when in reality, that is decoration. That is decoration. If you are focusing on your foundations and you are still feeling low energy, it's likely probably has to do with some level of mineral depletion, especially for moms. But that's when you can start experimenting and decorating with some of these other supplements. So going back to the foundations, eating a balanced diet, getting in good amounts of protein, don't skip meals, don't do intermittent fasting, like get in the nutrients that your body needs, hydrate. All of these things are honestly going to be my top energizing habits. They sound so simple, but they really do create powerful positive feedback loops with that.
That's super good advice. Well, shoot, Sam, like I literally just took so much away from this, and I know that this is only scratching the surface.
Mhm.
Where can we connect with you for further questions, to work with you, to learn from you? All the links, and I'm going to add them to the show notes.
Yeah. So right now, the best way to reach out to me is to go directly to my Instagram at Nurture with Sam. That's the best way to kind of get in touch. You can go right to the link in bio. You can schedule a call if you're interested in talking or learning more. You can take a look at some of the offers that I have. I do HTMA packages, as well as one-on-one coaching for preconception, pregnancy, postpartum, and just honestly beyond in motherhood. So that would be the best way to get connected with me is through Instagram.
Okay, you guys, she did not ask me to say this, but I really cannot encourage working with Sam enough. And I will say that like something, Sam, that I think you do really beautifully is you really do. You really are just like a built-in best friend. No, at no point in the process of asking about your HTMA testing, looking at it, there's never any pressure. She's just a wealth of knowledge. It's literally like you're calling a friend, like, hey, walk me through what this looks like. What are the options? Blah, blah, blah. You decide. And She really is a wealth of knowledge, and honestly, like, this sounds so silly to admit to, one of my biggest things was like, "Well, I have time," you know?
Mhm.
Because you're busy, you're pulled in multiple directions. I mean, like, Sam and I were talking before we actually hit record, like, about how it's so hard, even in motherhood, to even just, like, get to your basics, like, okay, reply to my text messages, whatever, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, am I gonna have time to actually implement her program," right? But having her do the heavy lifting, "Okay, here's your HTMA test. Here's what it means. You need this," and I
Mhm.
was like, "Okay, boom, done, order," like, and then I started doing it. I really can't recommend it enough. She really is incredible at what she does, and truly today, knowing what I know now, we really have only scratched the surface, so it can just pay dividends to have somebody help you cut through that overwhelm and get you on the right track towards an upward trajectory of feeling better. And when you invest in feeling better, really, truly, I believe it is a blessing to everybody around you. If my husband were right here, he would say the same thing. He's like, "Yep, like go for it," because I've got a way more energized wife and mom to my kids for it. So,
But
Sam, thank you so
that's the
much.
thing though, we honestly, like, this is time that we never get back. I mean, my oldest is
Right?
4, and I'm like, I, like, got emotional the other day because it went by so fast, and, like, I
Yeah.
don't think people realize how good they can actually feel during this season, and I
Mm,
think a lot of it goes back to the fact that our maternal health system is broken, and we are not educating women about postpartum
hmm.
depletion. It is more common than people think. Majority of women will have it, and, like, if you can address that depletion early on, you're just gonna feel so much better in this season. You're gonna handle your stress better. Obviously, there's gonna be stress, but you handle your stress better. You have better quality of life, and you create
Yep.
more memories. You do more things with your kids because you're not tired. Like,
Yep.
it's so important. So yeah, I mean, thank you for saying that. I think it's so important to look at it that way.
No, 100%. Sam, thanks so much for your time. Like, I
Yeah,
really appreciated this more
thanks
than
for
you know.
having me.
Awesome.
Thanks so much for listening to Motherhood Equipped. Remember, you don't have to have it all together. You just have to be willing to bet on yourself and then trust the Lord every step of the way, walking boldly in the purpose He has for you. I remember very vividly searching for my first podcast related to motherhood when I was in the depths of postpartum after having my first, and I would have never found the encouragement I needed had the podcast I found not had enough reviews to show up in my feed when I searched. So I'd love to ask if you would pass this gift along to another mom needing encouragement and leave us a review so that we show up in other people's feeds, and also just share this with one friend who comes to mind. Thanks so much.